Joseph-Pierre Richard, hanged December 11th, 1957. At 12:05 a.m. on Wednesday, December 11th, 1957, Joseph-Pierre Richard, 29, was hanged at the Restigouche County Jail in Dalhousie, New Brunswick, for the brutal rape and strangulation of 13-year-old Mary Katherine de la Perelle on February the 9th, 1957, at River Charlo. Richard would be the last man hanged in New Brunswick. He took 13 minutes to die. Richard, who was married and the father of 2 children, was a troubled individual and the local boogeyman. He had been convicted of knocking over tombstones in a graveyard and for tying a dog to the railroad tracks. Tying a dog to the railroad tracks before setting the poor animal on fire. In 1953, he attempted to murder a Campbelltown cab driver he suspected of having an affair with his wife, and was given a sentence of only 3 years in prison. He had been released 6 weeks before the murder, and the night of the crime had been seen lurking outside a home where Mary Katherine, known as Kay, was visiting friends. Richard was convicted on forensic evidence linking him to the murder, but the conviction was overturned as, in the words of the Regina Leader-Post for July 27, 1957, quote, "The Appeals Division ruled that statements allegedly made by Richard to police while he was in custody were improperly admitted as evidence at his trial." End of quote. Richard had been held for 2 days before being arrested and responded to police attempts to extract a confession with the incriminating statement, quote, "If you've got a case, if I'm sentenced, I'll tell you before I die." So Richard got a new trial, but the outcome was the same: guilty of murder. Kay's grandfather, Philip, had employed Richard as a lobster fisherman and believed that Richard had murdered his granddaughter in revenge for Philip having fired him. While Richard never confessed to the crime, he did make the enigmatic statement, quote, "It wasn't about the sex. The girl did not die for sex." End of quote. Richard's final words on the gallows: "I hope God will forgive me." He is buried in Our Lady of Visitation Cemetery in Benjamin River, New Brunswick. The primary source for today's video is the chapter on Richard in Alan Hustak's book, They Were Hanged. Another interesting source was an article I found on Richard on the site genealogy.restigouche.net. Newspaper coverage was sparse, which may have been due to the horrible nature of the crime or to a growing public distaste for capital punishment. In any event, I put links to what I did find in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, comment, and consider subscribing to The Gallows, where we explore Canadian murder cases which ended on the scaffold. And remember, if you're born to hang, you'll never be shot. Cheers. Note: Richard was hanged December 11th, 1957. Ironically, exactly 5 years later, to the very day, December 11th, 1962, the last men to be executed in Canada Arthur Lucas, and Ronald Turpin were hanged at Toronto.